الَّذِينَ هَادُوا, Jews. وَالنَّصَارَى, well, As-Sabiqun. Sabiqun were the people who used to get baptized a long time ago. They were monotheists. Nasara, of course, Christians. So Sabiqun, Christians. And it goes on to say, wa amana billahi, those who believe in Allah, wal yawm al akhirah, and the last day, wa amila salihan, and work righteous deeds. Fala khawfun, there will be no fear alayhim, wala hum yazanun, there will be no fear upon them, nor shall they grieve. So this is outlining the people who is reasonable to work with. Basically, Ali Kitab. So this is a very, let me see if I can, this is a very good rendition coming from the Quran, of course, about these people. Okay. Let's see what else we can do here. They said, or he said, that is the father, my dear little son, relate not thy vision to thy brothers, lest they concoct a plot against thee. For Satan is to man an avowed enemy. O my Lord, thou hast indeed bestowed on me some power and taught me something of the interpretation of dreams. O thou creator of the heavens and the earth, thou art my protector in this world and the hereafter. Take thou my soul at death as one submitting to thy will as a Muslim, and unite me with the righteous. There's one more before we... O my sustainer, thou hast indeed bestowed on me something of power, and hast imparted unto me some knowledge of the inner meanings of happenings. That's why I like this, because it gives a little deeper, not only some power of the interpretation of dreams, but this says the inner, some knowledge of the inner meaning of happenings. Originator of the heavens and the earth, thou art near unto me in this world and the life to come. Let me die as one who has surrendered himself unto thee, and make me one of the righteous. To begin with, yeah, I bought 3 of these, so these are in brief, a handout from the Natura Carte. Remember the Jewish group of brothers, right, that when we arrived at the Palestinian demonstration, they said something to the effect of, does anybody remember exactly what they said, kind of?
Pretty much, he said, this is a good guy right here.
Right, right. Yeah, I remember him said to the others, he turned around and talked to them and said, "This is our friend."
Right.
Yeah, this is our friend.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he let it know that it's been a long time too.
Right.
It didn't just happen.
Right.
In fact, this group we were friendly with way before any of the other, way before the other Muslims. When the other Muslims found out, we had already been down with them for 10 years. But if you want to wonder, if you look at right now what's going on with Big Don, let's go through the headlines a minute before we, here it is, blah, blah, blah. Jews control the world with their money. The lady didn't say that. The lady didn't say nothing like that. Okay? And then they got on this side, which the Protocols of Zion supposed to say, and they got it over here. It's all about the Benjamins. Money, baby. She ain't saying nothing like that. Money, baby. It's all about the money, baby. On America's policy of supporting Israel, when asked whose money she was inferring was buying off American politicians, Umar responded, AIPAC. What's anti-Semitic about that? And then over here, they go on and we won't go through it. But the idea is, I want to talk about the political influence in this country that says it's okay to push for allegiance to a foreign country. She's only saying, how can you put the Israelis before America? That's basically what she's saying. If you look at the newspaper, all you got to do is go back to the Obama administration, and they had, they had the Netanyahu was in the American Congress talking bad about his policy.
And got 25 standing ovations.
No doubt about it. It was pitiful. It was pitiful. Versatile, growth fears keep fed. These is all New Zealand and other things. 49 shot. They have right over there. You've heard about the articles I have. If somebody could bring me those newspapers right there. I just want to. I'm just getting warmed up and get started, and I'll. No, this is fine. Israel. Trump endorses Israeli control of Golan Heights. Yeah, that's in 2 or 3 papers. Okay, we know. At first, we was kind of figuring who brought Don in and what would be the exact purpose. Okay, so Netanyahu been for the last 5 or 6 years, every time he go to the UN, it's Iran. One time he had a little bomb with a fuse on it, and it had Iran on something like that. He's never missed the opportunity to talk about Iran. Pompeo, whatever it is, he's in Lebanon yesterday, and he's over there talking about Hezbollah. First of all, the American policy, first of all, the Zionist policy. If you look at Donald Trump, he's the most Israeli-friendly person ever been in the White House. I mean, ever. And everything he did, he just went on and marched straight on through. He said, oh, the embassy, we moving our embassy to Jerusalem. Golan, and all those are illegal. Golan Heights for Syria, illegal. The illegal occupation right now. They said they done got rid of Daesh, right, in Syria. Well, why are you still there? What was you doing there in the first place? The thing that we know, the triangle of terror is correct from the very beginning. It's been Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the Americans. Saudi Arabia gave the money and the ideology and let the Daesh, ISIS run wild. That's what they did. They did it, and they did it in front of everybody. And American and Zionist friends, including themselves, they can occupy and they can do whatever they want in the world. And the UN just steps back. In Yemen, it's like they didn't bomb wedding parties, hospitals, schools. They didn't kill children, women, everybody. They didn't destroy infrastructure. Anything you can name in Yemen, they didn't destroy it. They've produced cholera. Cholera was almost disappeared. They didn't produce diseases that were long gone from the environment. That's what Saudi Arabia's bombing has done with U.S. help, with U.S. technology, with U.S. training, with U.S. servicing all of this stuff, and with U.S. satellite and communications. So all of that is done with U.S. aid and assistance. And it's Saudi Arabia. So that means, just like Saudi can do anything it wants, because it's now bowing down clearly to the Israeli state, right? Saudi Arabia is not, that's fine. And then when you look at Daesh, I don't know if you can remember, 2014-15, the Daesh would have them flags waving and they'd be in the back of them trucks, all of them white Toyotas. Remember that? Yeah. Wait just a minute now. There's fleets of trucks, pickups going down, and they're all the same kind, the same color, and how did all of this happen? Well, first of all, who can afford all of that? That harmony, that unity, that organizational structure. There it is. Several people can. So you got 3 people working on this project on different levels. You have the cover being provided, you have the footwork and all that being done, just like this says, by Saudi Arabia. Then you have the cover by the Americans. And you have the cooperation of the Zionists. Why is it that the Zionists can break all the rules of the UN? Why is it that the Zionists can change the place of the, they didn't just wiped out all negotiations. They don't have no grounds, the Palestinians don't have no grounds for negotiation at all. Why? Because the United States, they gave away Jerusalem. They say you can have it. That's for Yahoo. So if the lady says, or asks the question, can we have an allegiance to someone other than ourselves? That's just the question. What it looks like, let's get to the meat of this. What happened in America? Who hired Donald Trump? That's question number 1. What was his mission? Explain behavior pattern. Who hired Donald Trump? The Israelis did. The Zionists did. They discovered a guy that will create pandemonium, organized pandemonium in America. We'll get to that in a minute. That's Donald Trump. I assume he was broke and they needed each other. We need a guy that's ruthless. You work on one of his buildings, you get a couple of $1 million in the hole from your construction company, he'll stop paying you and take you to court. This is the only man I ever seen in the court that had 51 cases when he became president. He had 51 cases holding up to people suing him because he didn't, withdrew his loan, did this or did that. 51 cases of common people, okay, construction people. They might be rich by our standards, but not rich by the big, they did a few floors of one of his buildings or something. And then he got started to work and pretty soon they put in more money than he did, and then they said, we ain't gonna pay you now. And to hold them up in court, they going broke. So they settled for 10% of what's owed them, 20%. So that's done. Now, what was his mission? To follow Israeli orders 100%. To divide the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Now you can see what he's doing. Why would a Republican, right now he treated him so bad that everybody had to just break down and submit to his authority, or as a Republican, because half the stuff he was saying was true, like fake news, this, that, and other. And a lot of that stuff is true. He knows it's true because that's what they're doing. So Don's job was to destroy the Republican Party, except his base, 35%. Split the Democratic Party. Right now, there's little shenanigans going on. Right today, AIPAC is having a big meeting, and they're being boycotted by a lot of Democrats, maybe a few Republicans too. That might, when they come up with these plans, a few things go astray. But if we're not organized to take advantage of them, it ain't no big deal. If we don't have organized struggle to take advantage of this 49, 51, 52 people dead, right? We don't go and count advantages, but the sympathy that we gain, the white lady put on hijab and had other white folks wearing hijab. They said, why are you doing this? I forgot to bring it. We got a thing in the mail yesterday or day before. It says, we stand with y'all. It's from a Catholic school. I said, well, I'll be doggone. I said, is somebody playing around? They might be telling the truth. This stuff is so audacious now, right? But people beginning to see. That's why what they did down in not Australia, but New Zealand, Allah says in the Quran about the martyrdom of believers, it will not be, use will come out of it. That's basically what it is. Okay, now, organized nonviolent resistance is one thing. But reactionary nonviolence is another, where you just go around reacting to other people. You don't have a strategy. The Zionists have a global strategy. They're all over the world. They have a global strategy. We can see it now everywhere. The Europeans are under the spell of Zionism. Parts of Africa is under the spell. Look, they have Nigeria now, but other places, they had them Arabs go over there and act so bad and just take the money, Lebanese and all of them, no Islam, no love for the people, and here come the Yahud come in with a smile and point them out, and the people don't know. They say, well, this Jew, isn't that? Talking about Yahoo, remember that Entebbe, that airport? The Jews built that airport in Entebbe. That's why they were able to fly right over there, take their people and go on home. Entebbe in Uganda. Jews built that. Everything they do is an arrangement for future use. So, what's happening with Don? Destroy and neutralize both parties. Have you noticed that every other day is something in the news about Don? He slides right up to the plate, but it's not enough to indict him. How often? Every week. It's a scandal. Every week, sometimes 2 times a week. There's been 3 times a week scandal. There's always a scandal. But there's never an indictment. No other president could have even, can you imagine Obama surviving all of this suspicion and fitna? It's because the Zionists have a plan. Their plan is working 100%. They're the ones that put Don in there. They brought Donald Trump in there. What was his mission? Destroy the Democratic Party, split it up like it is now. That's something I want to say now. These seem like nice people, but you don't know who put them in there. You just don't know. Homeboys sit, strolling around and immigrant, and we make you want to be big? Yes, fine. All you got to do is go in. Of course, I wouldn't say that. The Zionists plant people years ahead, decades ahead. Some of the books that we read about Zionists say that there's the Mossad contact doctors in all the area. So if something go down, one of them, the doctor will agree to break his oath. His oath is to turn in all the people that do this, that, and other, right? And this doctor is committed to Mossad. What kind of doctor is he? He's a Zionist doctor, right? And he's activated only when he's needed. He could go make the rest of his life and not do nothing for Mossad. That's how they think, way ahead. This election was a golden opportunity, the last one. Now you got to look at it the way it is. If the Democrats are split between young and old, fresh and this and all of that, right? And the Republicans, why would a Republican president keep talking about John McCain? Right. Why is he doing that? Right. That's somebody that all the Republicans like. They love John McCain. But John McCain probably picked up on who it was. You ain't for no America. Right? Some of the others picked up, but they don't care. They want to get feather their own nest. They don't care about America. So now, you just take the 2020 election. If Don got his card carrying 35%, dumb white folks, right? And then the election roll around and he blows it up to maybe 45% or something like that. If the other people are divided, he goes home free. He goes home free because he's divided the Republicans. Remember, the Yahoo don't care about none of them. He's divided the Republicans and he's divided the Democrats. I mean, today, the Democrats, that unity they had a month ago, they don't have that now. Although there's a semblance of a boycott of AIPAC, but look what AIPAC done. AIPAC done broke. AIPAC walked away from all the Democratic stuff, everything, right? I mean, AIPAC then jumped on the treaty, 5+1, whoever that was, JOP, all that stuff. Donald Trump closed the door on that. Today, yesterday, Donald Trump told Kim Jong-un, oh, don't you worry about a thing. No, did y'all see that in the paper? No, there's no, whatever. He's talking about the sanctions and all that. He lightened up on Kim Jong-un. He told, oh, don't you worry about a thing. Yeah, it's right there. I'll show it to you when this thing is over. Kim Jong-un lightened up on the Chinese. Why is that? In the future, he could have already made the deal with Kim Jong-un. Hey man, y'all like to play, we're gonna play this to the bus stop. Right? We're gonna have this friendly talk, then we're gonna get mad at each other and walk away. But just before the election, I'll call you when it's time, and you start talking friendly talk again. And then after the election over, you can go to hell. I don't care where you go, or I don't care about no nuclear weapons on this thing. I have me big money, big billions, right? What I should have had all the time. It's all arranged. Now, when you think of the Zionists, if you think this stuff is not important, then you think who has a history of this type of behavior? Controlling and manipulating the environmental circumstances and also developing a picture of what they want and then doing it. The Zionists been on their job 100 and something years ago. When they bought the New York Times, by that time all the advertisers were Jewish in New York. Guess what they did? They pulled their advertisers. The New York Times took a nosedive and they bought it for little or nothing. Then the Jewish advertisers come back. They bought it for $800,000, I don't know, whatever it was pennies. That's what they do. Same thing, the Graham family used to own this Washington Post. Always. Crackers used to own it, it's white folks. Good old red-blooded crackers. You know, Indian killing, nigger hating crackers, they used to own that. But you know, them people are a little easier to deal with than the Zionists, because both of them got their stuff in mind, but one thinks even further ahead than the other. This is because of his environment. He always been, you know, kind of stuck out there. But I tell you what, you look at We'll just do this one right here. Palestinian issue. Is it true that Natura Carte International supports Palestinian sovereignty over all the Holy Land? Our answer is unequivocally yes. However, this answer requires some prior explanation. We are an anti-Zionist, orthodox organization. Our quarrel is with Zionism. Exists in many levels. First, by establishing a state in Palestine, which is forbidding according to Jewish laws. It denies the divine punishment inherent in the Jewish people's exile and seeks to remedy what is essentially a spiritual state by this worldly means. Second, it has devoted much of its energy to the uprooting of traditional Torah faith. Third, it has committed a grievous moral evil in its treatment of the Palestinian people. This goes on and on. But part of what it says here, my task today is to speak about Judaism and Zionism. At first, people had an idea about the difference. Later on, the Jews were saying Zionism is Judaism. And the people wouldn't know. I'll just kind of speak triumph of falsity. I'll give you one of these. Maybe you can copy a few of these. This is Rabbi David Weiss. Some of their followers, they probably passed away now. They had tattoos. I think he's Hungarian, but they had tattoos from the Zionist camps. You know where there's a tattoo they number on the Jews. You know, I asked him about wudu. I said, we make wudu before praying. Do you guys do something like that? He said, yeah. He said, in fact, one of the first Pope programs, I think I'm going to mention it halfway correct, in Poland and those other places during the Black Plague, he said, because we were washing and we had very small deaths, and the other people was mad at us. They thought we did it. The Black Plague, the bubonic plague that swept through Europe in the 1400s, they thought the Jews put something on them because the Jews washed all the time. Just like we make wudu. Before prayer, they do a washing too, and that cleanses them, purifies them. I asked David Weiss, I asked him what their position on Jesus was. He didn't answer, and I didn't ask again. You know, if he wanted to answer, he would answer. You know, I'm not going to substitute what I think he would have said either. But now, if you want to think who has done things like this before, if there's a crime in the area, if you look at 911, you said, who did stuff like this before? You would say the Israelis. Lucy Adas was an Israeli. She owned the apartment where the brothers were staying. You know, the Arabs. And the minute the building come down, she was on the next Air Israel flight to Israel. She was gone. You couldn't question her. Couldn't do nothing. She was gone. But some of the paperwork was still there because the rental agreement and this and that, right? So if you go back in certain types of history and you want to see who has a history of doing this thing. And not only who has a history, who has the ability. Who has the ability to shut down all the airports? Who have the ability to shut down, I don't know whether it's NORAD, Conrad, all of them, right? Who can shut all of that stuff down so them jets can fly around? You can fly from Boston out for an hour and then fly back. But the white man in this little other plane that was flying along, and I guess he died and the windows fogged up, and they had scrambled some jets on him in a hot minute. They followed him till he crashed in a private plane. But all of a sudden, they telling us that they let the jets fly out of down to Dallas and fly out of Logan up there. And they fly out of here. They flight pattern, they fly out, then turn around and go back to New York. Bull crap, it's a lie. Who had the ability to do that? Any excuse they give us is a lie. We had a test that day. You had a test, my foot. You ain't had no test, right? You were told to do that. Who had the ability to tell the United States to stand down? Mossad, the Israelis, that's all. Who would benefit from this? Remember, that's how you solve a crime. First, you don't have no idea. Well, let's look up the record. Who did stuff like this before? Who raped little girls? Who did this? Who did, right? You might get lucky the first time when you look over the records. You say this job fits so and so. There's 10 people out there. This rape, this murder, this what's the name, fit their profile. So now it's just a thing of numbers. Oh, he died last year. Oh, he was in Canada. Oh, but there's 4 left. Let's look at them even closer, right? That'll get you started. That's the history of it. But who had the ability to do it? Ability is next. Who had the ability? Most of the things that happen in the United States and around the world, the Muslims don't have the ability to do them. They just don't have the ability to do them unless they set it. Now, who would benefit? This normal crime, just normal, regular crime-solving stuff. Who would benefit? You know, if the uncle died, he had a will, well, who looked like it was funny stuff going on. Well, who would benefit? Right? So you got all the relatives, oh my goodness, here's so-and-so. Had a secret insurance policy on old Uncle so-and-so. Well, I'll be doggone. Suspect. Who got the most? Oh, so-and-so got the most. So now you're getting suspects. It don't have nothing to do with personal, I like so-and-so. This is a crime pattern. So all of this stuff happening in the Muslim world, who would benefit? Look at it. We got old-fashioned, bodacious colonialism, where they don't have to say, we're raping Africa because old Leopold, the Belgian Congo used to be owned by one man. The whole Congo, that's probably the biggest thing down there. The Belgian Congo, King Leopold, Union Manier, they was just scraping it dry, getting rich. And one man owned it, the King of Belgium. That's why they call it the Belgian Congo. He owned it. The whole thing. Not that the Congo, well, Sudan is one of the biggest countries down there, but the Congo is rich in minerals and everything else. I don't think there's nothing that Congo don't Congo is rich. That was bodacious colonialism. This is worse. This is worse. This is modern times. So, the U.S. goes and invades Iraq. Why? Because the man is independent. And the Zionists know Gaddafi is independent. No matter what else he is, he's still independent, right? So he's a threat to our security. He's a threat to everybody. So we got to get rid of him. But before that, they went to Iraq. They had no-fly zones. They had everything. Talking about weapons of mass destruction? No such thing. They can lie and lie and lie, and there's no consequences. There's no trials. There's no nothing before the world court. None of the things that the U.S. did and Europe did, including Gaddafi, including Iraq, they're still in Iraq now. They got 17, 18 years in Afghanistan. Why? They don't have to explain nothing to nobody, right? There's no UN. They right now talking about we're going to do this and that to Venezuela. Because Venezuela is bad. Venezuela happened to be pretty good. Venezuela ain't nothing like they're saying on TV. But now, when Hugo Chavez was there, he had a program of helping Latin America with oil. They boycott oil. They boycott the place. They say you're not helping the people. So take the boycott off. Yeah? You want to help the people of Venezuela? Why are you boycotting it? You take it off as soon as your man get in. Because he's a stooge. Do you recognize this syndrome around America and around the world? Yep. If you don't go along with us, we're going to get you.
And if you help your people, we're going to get you.
Better not help your people. We're giving a political analysis, a historical analysis, so I'm not going to talk about anything personal, except we get Zionist American messages, Saudi messages all day, every day, over and over again. Now, so who had the history? Who had the ability? Who would benefit? These are all simple questions. There's something else that I'd like to mention as we're passing. Does anybody remember the politics of heroin in Southeast Asia, or the Golden Triangle, they used to call it, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam? The Golden Triangle. Anybody remember Madame Nu and the ZM regime? 63, 64, 64. They were the biggest heroin dealers in the region. Heroin production increased in Afghanistan 500%. That's since the U.S. is back. No matter what the Taliban did, they had it down, they broke it down. Anybody remember the French Connection? French Connection, Turkey, Marseille, USA, French Connection, or Iran. During the Shah's time, Ashraf, the Shah's sister, ran the drug trade. Iran, Turkey, they're right there together. You get killed doing it inside Iran, but if you sending it out over here to America, Iran, Turkey, Marseille, France, French Connection. Okay? Afghanistan. Remember last week we talked about 7 U.S. bases in Colombia, American bases, to get rid of and to control the drug distribution and what have you in Colombia, to take back their market share. It's basically what it was, to take it back. The great friend, Mexico. And now the United States has destroyed Central America. They talk about MS-13. MS-13, all those places, they have to find new routes. So the new routes is the Central American route. They find cocaine sometimes floating up on the beach. Kilos, sometimes they lose shipments. It's just, in Central America, you know. Is there? The Zionists, the Americans, the Zionists first have a global strategy. Do we have a global strategy? Do the Muslims? We're not talking about just Iran, Hezbollah, Syria. We're not talking about the strategic alliance. They have a recognizable, you can see where they're coming from, right? And you can see why they're the target. And you could respect, too, why they have the stickability, but they under wholesale attack. In a way, it's good that they have 2 big boys, China and Russia, kind of floating around a little bit. But remember, China and Russia is under sanctions too. This time, though, it don't look as bad. Oh, what have they been trying to do? Re-engineer the whole Middle East, really re-engineer the whole world. Make the world America friendly, make the world Zionist friendly, make the world Saudi friendly. But all 3 of these are gaining a bad reputation. But if we're not organized, time will pass and they will slip on out and be right back at our throat. In fact, they haven't left it, they don't even explain what they do. They don't have to. We're in Syria, we're going to stay there. If you come around bothering us, we're going to kill you. Just happened the oil that Syria has happened to be there. And what do they get the right to come into somebody else's country uninvited anyway? They don't have to explain it. They go to the UN and they get 50 countries to join with them with Venezuela, against Venezuela. 50 countries. Okay. The reason we opened up with those ayats first was to let you know that we were not anti-Zionist. I mean that we are anti-Zionist, but not Yahoo. Inna alladhina amanu, alladhina hadu. Hadu is Jews. Torah-carrying Jews, Torah-implementing Jews. Ali Kitab. Was-Sabiqun. The Sabi'in, they used to get baptized and have a division. Wa-Nasara. The helpers, the Christians. amanta billahi wal yawm al akhirah wa amila salihan fala khawfun, that's fear, alayhim wala hum yazanun. On them will be no fear. The people that believe in Allah, whether Yahud, whether Sabi'un, whether Nasara, any who believe in Allah and the last day will receive their reward from their Lord, and there won't be no fear on them, nor shall they grieve. These, for us, are the Torah Jews, not the Zionists. The Zionists, look, the greatest enemy that the Zionists have is the Torah practicing. Boy, you ought to hear them talk about the Zionists, swine eaters, good God Almighty. See, what they say is triumph of falsity. Judaism and Zionism is false, and they're profiting off of it. They're pushing it. That's what their lectures are about. Why is this not true? Why is that true, and certain other things? Then they have it right down here in Arabic too. So they support Palestine. If you want to see a Palestinian flag in Israel, first place you go to is Hasidic Jews. They don't go in the army, they don't do nothing.
But now
they're trying to make them go to the army, but they are dragging them in the street. I don't think they're going to get them in the army. They're not going to get it. It's going to be too wide. They say, you guys benefit. Now they say, we ain't going in the army. We ain't doing nothing like that. And their position is the exile that the Jews were suffering was penitence. They were supposed to go through this until they believe, not Imam Mahdi, but the Messiah is going to come and fix everything. And until then, we got to work on our redemption. That's what they say. They say the state has no possibility of a state before the Messiah comes. It's just not. In the meantime, and they asked many questions. They said, we don't, okay, let me move toward a close. So who hired Donald Trump? What is his mission? Divide, conquer, and rule. Divide up everybody. Appear to be chaotic, but it's systematic chaos. All this chaos is systematic. It's not haphazard chaos. All of his chaos keeps his enemies off base. He support the Zionists 1,000% all the time, right? So he's doing the job that he was hired to do. And Saudi Arabia, he sells them or gives them, and then talk to them bad. If it wasn't for us, y'all wouldn't last 2 weeks. Just to let them know, why? Because they're Arabs. Who would be self-respecting to accept that unless they was sweet as candy, just big old punks? You believe in Allah and you have a big old fuzzy-headed cracker, half bald-headed, telling you, without me, you wouldn't last 2 weeks. That shows how girlified they are, but they hate Iranians, who are Muslims too. We're not going to say that everybody's going to pay for it, But down the line, Muslims must develop a global strategy. We can't be haphazard anymore. We got to have a global strategy that we're acting off of Allah's will. Muslims must develop a global strategy, choose sides, keep score, stay away from the system. The system is in decline. Reach out to the people and let the system go. What this means, the Muslims are a little weak-hearted right now. So they're depending on the graciousness of America, which is bad. What we believe that Muslims should do is they stay away from the system and allow the system to collapse. When it collapses, the people, black people, Latinos, everybody will say, will generally maybe be happy or something, but we wouldn't be there with them. It's going to be confusing when this system collapses, which is clearly headed that way, but we sitting there holding it up, praying for the system, right? We've been saying this for decades. Stay away from the system, let it go down, have confidence in the people, have confidence in your religion. Yeah, have confidence in your religion. Let America go. The people have to wake up because the protagonists or antagonists are so mean-spirited. And they're not slowing down. Looked like Donald Trump, after he did the thing with the embassy, it looked like after Europe, everybody said, that's bad. He would have said, hey, I'm going to take it easy now. No, he didn't do that. He said Golan Heights, which don't have nothing to do with Israel. They just took it. Israel violates everything the UN is about. And they've been doing it all of this time. Nobody says anything? What the heck gives them the ability? But we just tell you, Mr. Yahoo, you can bark and get mad all you want. We just happen to not be scaredy-fied Negroes. We just not part of our makeup. So anything you feel like doing, you can go and get busy. Get busy in a hurry. And don't stop and remind us what you're going to do. Just do it. But don't be selling no wolf tickets about what you're going to do to us. Just do it. Like all other little stuff you've been doing, just get busy. You know, that's what Noah said in the Quran. He said, all of y'all just get together and get together openly where your plan is not dark and dubious, where y'all don't know what you're talking about. Don't do it in signals and signs, you know. Don't do that. Be clear about it. And don't give me no respite. That's what it says. That's what Noah told the people. He was all the way by himself, and he'd been with the people 900 and something years. Good God Almighty. Didn't that take a lot of patience? 900 years as we count, because that's what the Quran said. They make that. No, 900 years as you count. That means lunar years. For what? Good God Almighty. Well, 950. Good God Almighty. Now, grand jury against the Zionists. That's what we're doing. That's what all this stuff. Triangle of Terror. This is grand jury against the Zionists. And it's too late if this stuff is gone out just one time. That's all it takes. If anybody thinking, grand jury against the Zionists. Zionists are enemies of America. And now we got Pompeo running around trying to get Hezbollah. Look, the reason the Zionists want to get America in on it, because he scared to death. Do y'all remember Bashir? Good News, 2006. What was everybody doing? They was, oh, they Lebanon. I said, it's good news. The people, some people, they didn't say it, but they was a little upset. So all of a sudden, everything we was telling them, we put out 3 CDs. But that's good news. Nobody in history, it was so beautiful. They combined second and third generation weapons to be able to defeat fourth and fifth generation weapons. That's what they did. And this is the first time you'd see Zionists or Israeli soldiers leaning up against tanks crying real tears. They're ghosts. We can't find them. We can't see them. That's why Allah put a cover over your eyes so you can't take it. The Zionists don't want to have nothing to do with them. They want Americans. If the student, Hezbollah, whoops the guy, what do you think the professor is going to do to taught him? The old man, the crew.
Say it.
Huh?
I've heard them say it.
Right.
That they don't, that they fear Hezbollah more than Iran. I've heard them say it.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Or would rather deal with Iran as opposed to Hezbollah, however you want to put it. I've heard them say it.
They might have said it, but they Iran is high-tech, number 4 or 5 in drones, and it'll be number 3 or something pretty soon, which that means you in the number. In another 5 years, Iran's missiles, Iran's everything will be, it's already on the road. It's not like it was when they, during the war. Iran is not going to allow themselves to be put in that situation again. They say it all the time. We're not going to allow you to tell us what to do in our own security. Y'all didn't say nothing. Poison gas and all that. Basically, y'all can go to hell, man. Ain't nobody counting about y'all. We were sitting out here burning up, and it was miserable. Poison gas. Some of the outfits to protect it was rubber suits. Can you imagine putting on a rubber suit in Basra at 120 degrees outside? Good God, they was snatching them things off. They said the heat in here is worse than the, hey man, it's a long story. They're trying to restructure the world in the image of Zionism and Americanism, like they did in Libya. They destroyed Libya. They haven't produced nothing. They destroyed Afghanistan. They haven't produced anything. Right? They've destroyed Iraq. You got to remember, the policy of destruction, if we destroy you, you can't take care of yourself, and then you have to rebuild. You need 10, 20, 30 years to rebuild your country. I don't think Iran is going to put up with that, because Iran is a modern state. I mean, they have, there's skyscrapers everywhere. All these 30-story apartment buildings, they're everywhere. They're just all apartments, just 30 stories up. And I mean, they're just big, elegant homes all over northern Tehran. So Iran is not a so-called third world country. Iran is arriving. And it's not going to put up with, they got the feeling of martyrdom. Just like everybody gets surprised when they mess with Shias, they do. They get surprised again. They have a population that's not, that Imam Hussein stuff started oozing out of people. You keep scratching it, and when you hit blood, they ready to go. You know, they ready. The fountains are running. It used to be during the war. The fountains had red Kool-Aid or something in them, like blood. Yeah, they didn't have no regular water. To let you know how they feel about martyrdom. And if you leave them alone, it's just talk. It's a ritual. It's a ritual. But you keep on messing around, hey man, I don't care where it's been the same story. Or whether it's been Afghanistan, a lot of people on that Northern Alliance, they don't say who the Northern Alliance is. Mazar Sharif, all them places, those are Shias. You know. All over Bahrain, that's 80% Shias. And they've been putting up with that, those people there are oppressing them for I don't know how long. It's built in. Okay, let me speed up and get ready to close. They want to restructure the world. Image. Saudi, Zionist, Brazil, Colombia. Power Politics 101. Colonialism 101. Divide, Democrats divide, Republicans keep 35% base, and they would win under this divided structure. Strategic management by chaos. Chaos, I mean. Destroy independent, okay. All their countries, drug dealers, yep. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Are there any questions or comments about anything that we have said so far? Any questions or comments? Just to reiterate, we're not going to let anybody build a picture of us. I'll just look at some pictures. This is out of a magazine. I don't think it's this one. But look, they try to build a picture. This is grown at home. Yeah. This is the people they had in there. You can't see the little picture. This is Abdul Malik over here. They call Abdul Malik the lecturer. This is Muhammad Al-Asi, Anwar al-Awlaki. These boys here, hey man, they look like Zionists to me. And here's the poor brother. So they'd have a page on each person. You know, they'd have a page on each person.
That's from that magazine, the intelligence report.
Let's see where it's from. Intelligence report, yeah. This is the front page of the magazine. But I was just going through, I was really looking for this, and I happened to run across this. Next program, I'll bring this. Now, this magazine in full, 2011, Najee brought me this magazine, government, Mr. Najee, whatever it is. Anyway, yeah, that's the way it is. The way it is the way it is. That's, you know, are there any questions or comments? Yes.
The Zionists definitely seem to have an issue with black people bringing this topic up. They seem to use us to, you know, I think you've mentioned, and I know Malcolm as political footballs or as tools, you know, in their agenda. But as soon as we are in a position to put the information out about them, is when they definitely come hard. You know, as if they have some understanding that once we wake up to what they've been doing, it's you know, their demise is imminent.
Oh, because they know, look, that what does the United States call itself? Exceptionalism. Well, there's no Negro exceptionalism. But when we catch fire, we caught fire, that's all. I mean, just think, the 60s, we just got a corner of it. We didn't have a chance. The government, after it focused in on us, it was a done deal. They didn't have no hard time getting rid of us. We just talking trash out of the side of our mouth, and the white man was lucky. One police, they shot him with a .38, and the traffic, you know, the book that they write traffic tickets with, the bullet hit that book. Another case, one of the brothers shot the police, of course with a .38. The police hit the ground, rolled, and shot. That's the way the police was trained. He thought he was down. The police went down, he rolled over and shot the brother dead. So we were not prepared. We were emotionally, we were led by our emotions. The civil rights movement, let's say pre-65, 66 in limbo. When we hit 67, 68, 69, the movement was, 69 and 70, that was it. I mean, people still was, there was no long hot summers after 1970. It might not have been one in 1970, that was gone. Everybody was in exile 69 and 70. When I left in 71, everybody had been gone. You know, I left in 71. People had been gone. It wasn't hardly nobody came out after I did. But I just realized, well, it's time to go. The point I'm making is, this time we're thoughtful about what we're dealing with. And it's not that we don't care, and it's not that we're reckless, but someone has to go out in front and accept that responsibility. And I don't believe at this time, at this period, there's no loss in it. None whatsoever. If we achieve martyrdom, good. That might be a spark that set off something else. It might be at this time that it's enough information. Now you can imagine over the years, the information we put out here, that's enough information to do it. That in itself, that'll give us a 10, 15-year head start on exactly what to do, what to avoid, what to, you know, it'll get us going. See, it's not us anymore, just like it's not Iran by itself. There's strategic alliances. We'll just have to let them wonder who our strategic alliances are. Something is going on, right? I mean, you just think about it. Something is going on. Something is going on. He can worry about that. If he's going to sit here and think, I'm going to tell him, not this time, brother. No. Of essence, mum's the word. If you think I'm going to sit here and tell you all this, that's fine. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Although it's true, there's something else going on. There's something else going on. And Yeah, there's something else going on. And there's people, man, you don't know who's getting the message. And you can't always weigh it's not that type of quantity where it weighs 5 pounds or it weighs 50 pounds. Some of the things have serious weight to them. Some of them have nothing. So, the last thing I would like to say on that issue is that next year I'll be 75, personally. And I can't lose. Personally, I can't lose. I cannot lose. I'm 74 years old. I can't lose. People didn't make it out of their 20s. Some out of their teens. They killed one little boy, 12 years old, last year, a couple of years ago. They just blew him away. So I can't lose. I don't have exactly no sleepless nights. None. I woke up the other night in the middle of the night and I just took notes down. You know, and I said, yeah. Because the old white man was doing something in the middle of the night. I said, oh, no, buddy. Hey, can you see the top there, 3 a.m.? Can you see it? On the 18th. Dream attack. I'm telling you, this is what I wrote it here, so I must admit it. How to message. It's a new frontier. In other words, it's a dream attack. I got all this stuff on the side of my head right here. I can feel this there. We was wondering how the attack would come. I'm just laying there. Boop, and I woke up, I said, oh, that's what it is. Because all of a sudden I'm dreaming about stuff I ain't been dreaming about before. This has been going on. Yeah, no, I'm telling you. You cannot, look, half the doctors over there is Zionists, the Jews, and the Muslims. Like that girl walking around over there at the hospital with hijab on, I wouldn't no more trust her than the man in the moon. And she looking at me stupid
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because when I went there and was looking for you,
right, she
had the meanest look on her face.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But, wow, I'm glad you said that.
Oh, no. Look. We do everything just like I said about our friends. I don't know who they are. We don't have nothing to say. We love everybody. But I don't know how people get there. Is this thing still on? Oh, okay. We love everybody. Anyway, I'm telling you what I did. This is on the 18th. Dream attack. How to manage. That's all I wrote. That's it. I don't have to write nothing else. I got how you're coming. You can't do nothing else. All them old dumb dreams. I said, what am I having these dumb dreams for? Oh, it's a dream attack. That's all. So now, I better not even start dreaming about something stupid. Well, I'm waking up. That's what I do right now. I wake straight up and pull out my pen and start writing. You're trying to pull a cracker, you must be a fool. That's what it says right here. If nobody believe it, just want to read it. Can you see it? It says dream attack. Can you see that from way back there? It says dream attack. 3 a.m. That's what it says. Dream attack. The Zionists know me, I know them. And they, look, psychological warfare, they finish. Whether, I'm gonna tell you this, I gotta tell you before. Remember I was walking around, my arm was like It was, I mean, limp. That was a 6-month job to get that boy back together, right? Tell the truth, it's something like that. You couldn't get it together in 3 days. So my homeboy called me from Iran, tattletale. He was a nice guy. So he says, because I talked to him before, and I keep the dates, and I tell everybody what I want to tell them. I said, yeah, man, I'm losing upper body strength. But I was telling you, I had to figure out whether I told him that before or after the attack. I told him before. Here comes so-and-so now. Now I'm losing upper body strength. I know because of push-ups. I know push-ups. I can't do push-ups. I have to do girl push-ups now, right now. But I'm getting pretty good, getting back on the iron, everything, and running. I'll be back out there this evening. So I feel my body. I know what's going on. So I said, yeah, bro. He said, how long do you think it's going to take you to get back to full operation? I said, 3 months, 6 months, or a year. He said, can you write yet? No, can't write. 3 days later, that hand that was limp, I'm telling you, that night it started to straighten up. I'm telling you, that night it started to straighten out. That's what happened. That miraculous recovery everybody's talking about. Remember, I couldn't hardly talk to nobody. I couldn't put no sentences together. I told him, and then my homeboy from Texas, his homeboy, they used to have all them Malcolm X programs, just had to see me. He was sitting right here, and just looking me up and down and studying me. I said, oh, this is as nice as I can be. Oh, I'm just happy as I can be. In fact, I think I'm 10% better. I'm just talking. They don't know how I feel. No. But I'm telling them. But I know one thing. I want you to just be real for a minute. Do you think I can go for this week and be up here giving khutbah the next week and walking in the hills and within 2 weeks hitting the bag like everything, nothing happened?
Without any rehab.
With rehab? You know, I was telling my daughter, I couldn't say nothing, so I said 2 things. Too trusting. That's what you are. Too trusting. Then I said, own system. That's all I could say. I have my own system. So they giving me books with dog, cat, run, and all of that. Yes, I'm telling you what they was doing. And I had my book with strategic management. I read it over and over again. I just read it. I couldn't write. I didn't know Al-Fatiha. If it walked in on stilts, I would not have known Al-Fatiha. I couldn't say it. That's what I remember. I kept saying I'm going to have to learn all my Farida again. I didn't remember nothing. You may think I'm lying, but I'm pretty sure y'all saw it. There's a 3-day jump, then there's a week jump, then there's 2 weeks jump. At the end of the 2 weeks, I done did a 5-year recovery. Everybody else have a long, I ain't seen nobody, so I was telling them, and then old Mark Bargamrica would call. I could tell he was laughing on the other side of the phone, you know. Yeah, Mark Bargamrica out there. I may go see him tomorrow. No, I can't go out. Pretty few days. Yeah, I'm going to not make fun of him, but I'm going to just say, yeah, he is the brother. He was laughing. He was laughing on the other side. He had I could see the smile, you know, because I couldn't talk. And he knew I couldn't talk. Yeah, you gotta be, but technically, even then, I didn't care. I didn't care, because what was happening and mentally, I said, shoot, you know, right on the money, you just can't talk to nobody about it. You can't say. But personally, this is back to all of this stuff. I don't care. Personally, I don't care about them. I don't care what they do. I don't care what happens in Oakland. I don't care. I have a plan, what I plan to do when I go back out there. Maybe a little sooner than I thought, maybe in a couple of weeks or so. I already know what I'm going to do. I already know what I'm going to do. And I pretty much, if I don't do that, I'll take a breather and come back with something else. You know, this Islam is deep. What I'm trying to tell everybody, if this thing is still on, hey, basically, the only reason the white man is kicking y'all's ass is because you're letting him. That's basically the only thing I know how to say. That's basically it. I wish I could say something more flowery, right? That you accepting an ass kicking by somebody that's incoherent. Half the time they try stuff. They're at the end of a lot of their certainty. They throw stuff out and it sticks because we don't wipe it off or clean it off. It's like a white boy said at Latuna in our clothes. Latuna is a penitentiary in Anderson, New Mexico. Is right on the border. It's called Latuna, the cactus. I mean, it's on the border. Like, you go on that side of the street, you're in Mexico. So, I was passing through that joint, and when I was coming from McNeil Island with a white boy, one of the hippie white boys, he was a yogi. He was a good travel mate. We was all on the bus. When we go in our cell, we go in the same cell. You know, traveling on the road. So they had another big white boy from the movement, and he could talk to him every now and then. And he was talking about how that guy had kind of given up. He said, you worked for years, you beat your head up against the wall, and they come with some dummy, and you tell them to plaster the wall up. You know, that's what the big white boy was saying. They had given up. They had given up. We're not in that we're in a grateful mode. We're in a grateful mode. I can't imagine anything happening to take us out of a grateful mode. I don't have no idea what it would be, or because it's not possible. I mean, yeah, anything is possible, like, you know, but that type of thing is not possible. They try to make you feel like this or feel like you be hobbling along. I said, I'm gonna live to be 100. I don't care whether you like it or not, of course. It's all up to Allah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand exactly. But I'm not gonna feel like, oh, this hurts or that hurt. You know why? The white man puts stuff on you, you hurt for a while, and he forget, and then he come back and do thing he did 6 months before. The fool forgets. And he do so many things to keep you, you know, moving from one thing. He knows if he do one thing to you, you're gonna get used to that, whatever it is. So he do something, and then he move to something else, then he move to something else, then he move back. I said, boy, these people is crazy. So I'll close with this. I can't imagine how are we dealing personally with Zionism just fine. Just fine, you know. Well, it's not. Okay, so there's no questions or comments? All right then. Assalamu alaikum.